Hello, I'm Jeremy Taylor, and welcome to Wednesday Night Undressed, the podcast that reaches to the wobbly places that other podcasts dare adventure. Join our panel for a thrilling threnody of rumbustical debate, where the answers are always clear, simple and straightforward, insofar as they can be determined and demonstrated to be without any epistemological problems. And let me introduce our regular panel and our guest for tonight, of course, Dame Kathleen Taylor.
Hello.
Count Ivo Ivanov.
Yeah.
Dr. Orlando.
Javor.
Professor Jane Carter.
Hello.
And joining us tonight, in the hope that he isn't going to be anti-Brexit Brit, Nate. Mr. Nate will be with us. So there you are. We're off on a runner. Believe it or not, we're now 3 months into the new year. It's quite amazing. Tell me, panel, if you had to have one.
Hang on a second. I'm still trying to process this. What new year? I mean,
2018.
It's not 2018 yet, is it? Oh, my God.
If you had to have one, what tattoo would you choose? Why? And where? Let's start with Jane.
I think that I would have...
Or have you already got one?
No, I don't have any.
Oh, all right.
But if I did choose, I would probably get... Well, technically, the set would be 2. So it would be 2 separate tattoos, but it would make up the completion of the one. I would have one on my left arm and one on my right arm, and the left one would be the tattoo, the insignia for the Empire in Star Wars, and the other one would be
I thought you meant
the Rebel Alliance on my right arm.
Yeah, exactly.
The reason in the Empire would go on the left arm is because, well, first of all, I'm a righty, so I would want the Rebels on my right, but the Empire on my left, and I would want them both because I feel that it makes a complete idea of just the way shit works.
So I got to say this. I know you probably know this already, and I'm guessing probably everybody here knows this. You know what the meaning of the word sinister is, right? Left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got
So they would be on the
They'd
left.
be on the left side,
And
yeah.
to symbolize their fighting, you would have to hit your arms together repeatedly.
So you're a righty.
I don't know what to say to that.
You're a righty,
I am.
and you have the Empire on your right. No, on your left.
Yeah, on my left.
On your left. So
Technically,
for
I
the
was...
Empire to strike back, you have to punch with the left.
Oh,
then,
God.
right?
Boo.
Yeah.
Technically, I was born a lefty, and they made me stop.
Oh, God, that explains so much.
They're not supposed to do this.
Yeah.
If my
That's
little
not fair.
sister was here, who was born before everybody in this room with the exception of me, same thing. My mother thought it was very infradig to be left-handed and
my
forced Sally to do everything right-handed, instructions at school and everything else. She was to be right-handed. And so I don't know. I don't think she's currently left-handed.
So they used to do this to forcefully convert you to be
All the
right-handed.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty standard. Yeah.
That's really sinister.
And the...
Unbelievable.
Yeah, no, even if you notice my handwriting, even though I'm writing with my right, it slants like I'm a lefty. I don't know, it's just really weird. I can't quite... Anyway, that'd be my tattoo.
Dr. Orlando.
So I've got what I've heard that I think would be like the best tattoo idea of all time if it wasn't quite so sacrilegious, is getting the kosher symbol tattooed on your... well, never mind.
Yeah.
I think for me...
No. So I'm not going to be able to now.
Curling up in pain.
I think I'd have to go with like it's really basic, but it would be like the Superman insignia on my shoulder. Like that has probably been the one constant for my entire life is like my love of comics, my love of Superman as a comic book character specifically.
Couldn't you know he was your favorite?
The whole Superman outfit tattooed across all of your body so that you could just strip off all your clothes?
I just
and you
wear
use
the
shit?
pajamas all the time. Here, no.
By the way, speaking of the tattoos, I spent hour and a half of my life with Neil Rasmussen watching a movie called Get Me Roger Stone.
How is that?
It's really good, although it's kind of also repulsive because he's such an unlikable asshole and like openly bigoted, just monster. He was a strategist for Nixon when he was like 17 or 18 years old. He helped get him elected. He was a huge right-winger, extremist, provocateur, and helped Trump get elected. Now, when Nixon got impeached, according to the movie, and we saw it, he showed it proudly, he had a giant tattoo inked between his shoulder blades of Nixon's ugly mug. A very photorealistic Nixon face on your back, covering almost his entire back. Now, my question is, Roger,
2 feet too high.
yeah, my immediate question is, and I'm not going to say I'm looking forward to it because it's repulsive, but I'm kind of looking forward to it. When Trump gets impeached, is it time to get the Trump stamp?
I was going to say that's what I was thinking. It's like the tramp stamp, the Trump.
I'm kind of looking forward to the Trump stamp. As of what kind of tattoo, immediately what comes to mind is I'm going to get a tattoo on my face of a much younger and better looking face. That kind of makes sense. But no, really, like, if you're going to go for something that is going to be permanently on your body, I would go for something completely unconventional that just defies all logic, like I have a chair on my shoulder or a toaster, some kind of kitchen utensil.
Or what about like something that looks like it could melt? That way, when your skin gets old and wrinkly, it's actually melting.
How about the Constitution on your dick?
Some of us could, some of us can't. You know.
Evo, would you hold these rights to be so offended? Yeah.
There's gonna, in Lewis's case, there will be need for many more amendments.
Goddamn right.
And
There's 60 amendments.
then the thing is, would you have it done when you are, what's the word I'm looking for?
You don't get to change the subject. We
I'm
haven't
not.
asked
No, I was still
Lord Taylor himself.
I was still
what
on
your
Evo.
Tattoo. No. What is your tattoo going to be?
Well, I'm the question master, so I need to ask Nate.
Okay.
So,
Nate.
it's not going to be a half-sleeve tribal tattoo from the early 2000s. That's for fucking
That's what he's
sure.
got.
You've had that taken off.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. So that falls under the category of things that seemed like a really cool idea at the time, and I blame Dusk Till Dawn. Quentin Tarantino was way too influential to my
Were there
formative years.
a lot of tattoo? I'm guessing that what was the
George
the name?
Clooney's had the coolest and the last time that tribal was ever cool, if it ever was.
Was the bar
on
named
him.
Titty Twister or something like that? The infamous bar.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what it wouldn't be.
So I got to tell you that I've always loved that tattoo. Like, quite genuinely before.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, I have always wanted to get, like, a dragon, a full-armed dragon. So I've always been jealous of that tattoo.
Did Stieg Larsson kind of mess that up for you, though?
Kind of did, just a little
I know,
bit.
right?
Yeah, well, I'm not a girl. Well, at least not during the day.
Right,
So,
right,
yeah. But yes.
Oh, me? Right. Well, I was thinking actually doing like as a friend of mine did, if I had to have a tattoo, and do eyebrows. Just tattoo in your eyebrows. And then I thought, what happens when my hair goes all gray and white and I have still dark eyebrows tattooed underneath white hairs? I mean, it's just, no matter what you do, it's going to look awful. So I would go for a freckle on my back so I didn't have to see it. How's
Back
that?
freckles.
Yeah,
Righteous.
a freckle. A freckle.
What about like the Cindy...
Oh, yeah. What?
I was going to say, what about the Cindy Crawford beauty mark?
No, not on the face. God, then I'd have to see it sometimes.
All right,
Jeremy?
Taylor.
What kind of tattoo would you have?
Yeah.
Probably
Do
have
you
a tattoo.
really want to know?
I really want to know.
We really want to know.
Yes.
Tell us.
I would probably, if I was going to have a tattoo, probably have a tattoo with my wife's name.
Which one?
Oh, snap.
This is the
oh,
man
no,
who
she
was
didn't.
at dinner
oh, no, she
with
didn't.
family, and his ex-wife was there, and he announced the table. It's really weird sitting here with both my wives. We all went.
I mean, okay, quick survey. Who here amongst the 6 or 7 people here has projectile vomited a statement that where you say it and then you think,
That was a bad idea. Yeah.
I don't know why the fuck I said that.
Said something
Yes.
and then immediately.
Oh,
read
yeah, as
it.
well.
I've never done anything else. In my
No, but I mean, it's you know what I mean. You say something comes out and you think, oh shit, and I've done it 3 times.
Only 3.
Only three.
Three
I'll have to try to
major.
remember the other 2.
Literally
so I
the
can
last
never
week
let 'em
we're
forget
One
them.
was I was
Like,
sitting in my office with some guys once, a long time ago, and the guy we knew was a real queen. So he and I was in the process of telling a joke to my friends. You see, and I sort of went doot-de-doot-de-doo, and with my hand I pointed downwards. Right, had nothing to do with being gay, anything like that at all. It could have been something about racing cars. I have
just
no
sort of
idea.
went limp-wristed in
and this
joke,
guy
right.
walked past, stopped, reversed, and came into the office and said,
You're making fun.
hello. We knew who he was, you see, and he said, I didn't know you swung.
Oh.
And I can honestly say, I'd have been about 26, 27 at the time. I got no idea what he was talking about. And I said, I beg your pardon. So while I'm talking to him, like I am to you, people behind me, right, were bailing out of the office, out the back, and running upstairs, right? And I said, I'm sorry, what are you talking about? He said, well, I swing both ways. I thought you were showing me that you did too.
Ouch.
And then he realised I still had no idea what he was talking about. Genuinely, I didn't.
It's been a case of education.
Did he do a never mind and walk out?
thanks.
Like, never
And then
mind.
the second time it happened was we were at a big ball dance, and a dear friend of mine, who my lovely wife has met a number of times, had bought herself this beautiful pink sort of princess type dress, right? And she came wafting in, and out of it came, oh look, it's the Sugar Plum Fairy. And do you know, that was a good
Big
35, at least 35, if not 40 years ago. Right?
Yeah.
And I saw Jenny the other day, well, at Christmas, right, back in England, and she said, you know, I've still got that dress on a hanger, you bastard.
Damn, Jeremy.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
I mean, you know, they come straight out. I've got out of it now, haven't I? No, really, that's all I would want to do. I don't want to put 22 SAS or a torpedo boat or an anchor or, you know, something like that. No.
It's too trite.
I
It's
don't
been
know.
done too many times.
It's just not me, you know. But I will tell you this. Many of the listeners will know that Eva and I do a radio show together. And I did an interview with a tattoo artist in this town. And we had more telephone calls and emails about that single interview in the last 10 years, and this was a long time ago, than we've ever had before.
You know what would be kind of cool before we move on a tattoo is if you did the old school heart with mom.
Yeah.
Because if your hand was hanging down, it would say mom, and then if you put your hand up, you'd be like wow.
My
And it would be the upside down heart, like boo.
Yeah, my daughter, being the weirdo that she is, she's a very different character. But she has a tattoo on her neck, on the back of her neck, right here, on the back of her neck, of Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, right.
Yeah, she is obsessed. Always has been obsessed with Charlie Chaplin since she was like maybe 7 years old.
Really?
And yeah,
How big is
when
it?
she turned 18, it's pretty big. It's like Charlie Chaplin with the cane.
Oh, cool.
You
Oh,
know,
like the full-
the
okay.
full figure of
It'd
Charlie
be hard
Chaplin.
to get that recognizable. You'd have to choose somebody.
It's actually
Because if
easily
you just-
recognizable.
Well,
yeah,
the
that would
head.
be. But if you got somebody that people didn't really know very well, they just say, "Why have you got that weird face on your back?"
Then she also tattooed on her wrist. So she has 2 tattoos. She has the Charlie Chaplin, and on her wrist she has the words in Cyrillic, in Bulgarian, in Cyrillic, "Nyama nishto," which means it's okay. Basically, it means it's okay. Don't worry about a thing. Nyama nishto. Don't worry. So she looks at it every once in a while when things get too intense. That's cool. But that's what she did. I was always against it. She asked me both times, and I like, no, don't get a tattoo. You regret it later. But she's
Remind me
happy with
to
it.
tell you my Charlie Chaplin story.
Please.
Another time, Dr. Orlando, you wanted to ask the panel you wanted to do a sort of mini survey about
but
communication.
People hate that question, so I'm going to change it.
Oh, all right.
We're going to instead ask people about comfy clothing. Like, what is the single most comfortable item you own that you're willing to wear in public? Nate, since you've got your comfy sweater on, let's start with you.
I usually have a comfy sweater on. As I said before the podcast, it is definitely cardigans, or as my lovely wife refers to them, mannequins.
Excellent.
And the reason being, I am basically wearing a waist-length bathrobe right now, but somehow it's socially acceptable. And it has extra pockets, so I've got that going for me, too.
I've often wondered why people look down on the guy who ran Playboy because he always had a smoking jacket on.
I think people look down.
People say
found-
pajamas, but
I wouldn't say a lot of people look down at Hugh Hefner. I think if anything, it was
a
just
lot of people
hatred.
go down on you.
That's very well, yeah.
But I mean, it has to be said. Walking
used
around,
to.
going
Hopefully
around
they don't
wearing
anymore.
wearing a waistcoat or a smoking jacket, and the slippers. It's comfortable. There's nothing wrong with
He
that.
always wore pajamas, right?
Yes.
Well,
Silk
so he started
pajamas.
that Walmart thing, where everybody in Walmart is wearing their freaking pajamas.
What's
I
your
was-
favorite thing?
That
Okay,
you'd have to
I-
wear out in public.
I dressed like a 12-year-old boy all my life, basically, and as much as people hate it, I still freaking love wearing cargo shorts. I have like 3 or 4 pairs of cargo shorts, and I wear them almost all year long. It's juvenile and stupid, but I like it. I never got addicted to the Crocs. I see people still wearing Crocs.
So I'm actually genuinely curious, just as an informal poll here among the panel. What the footwear thing is very interesting to me. Like, would anybody here wear slippers out in public? Just curious.
No, of course
No.
not.
No, but I have some shoes that are almost slippers. You know how the latest trend has been to have cloth shoes, the whole thing made of cloth.
Right.
Some of those look incredibly like slippers.
Yeah,
and
like
they're quite
Toms
comfy.
and-
Yeah.
I love Toms.
Yeah, I have a pair
Yeah.
of
That's
fly
almost
knit
slippers.
not dress shoes, tennis shoes.
Fly knit dress
Have you seen them?
shoes. No.
They look like a knitted material. They're really comfortable.
What about the Birkenstocks? Do people still wear these?
Yes, they still wear them here.
Because they were so
anyway.
expensive.
Yeah.
I'm still back on wearing slippers. One does not wear slippers out.
No. That is my presumption. But again, as Evo has mentioned, you can go to Walmart and have this theory tested. And
Half the people who come in here
Exactly.
are in their
Any
slippers.
theory
People, any theory can
Yeah.
be tested.
You know,
I've
Evo,
seen-
if you can't afford Crocs, you could always go to Walmart and buy some Walligators.
Walligators are knockoffs of Crocs?
Yeah. Well, that's what we call them because
my
they look
God.
like crap. But
Kathleen, what's your favorite dress? You can share.
That I can go out in public, definitely mom jeans. Yeah. Jeans that are not designed to uplift or separate or anything. They just are comfy. And maybe, oddly enough, a hoodie. A nice big roomy hoodie is so all-purpose with a t-shirt underneath.
I love wearing a hoodie when I'm walking the dog. Because I do it late and it's cold. And yeah, that's good. There's like, with guys, it's often the most comfortable thing not to wear and just go commando. Because there's a lot of guys that do that. So,
Well, that depends on whether you're wearing jeans or not.
Yeah.
Dr.
I
Orlando.
was
yeah.
going to say.
A hoodie and commando,
Yeah.
that's it?
Dr. Orlando.
yeah, for me, it is probably a very thick, oversized cotton button-down shirt. Like, there's something about, especially an extremely weighty cotton button-down shirt that I absolutely love. And when they're like baggy enough that I can use them as a sail, that's like just optimal for me.
And the collar doesn't.
So
doesn't
if
bother you.
everybody would join in with me, I'm a lumberjack.
So
Jeremy, what's your favorite comfy clothing?
judoka. He goes to a store in a judoka. You know what that is?
No.
It's like a kimono for judo.
Oh.
For like
okay.
if you're a judo
Yeah.
competitor,
Yeah, those
you
look
wear
comfy.
a judoka.
They do.
Yeah.
I think I can't go out in it anymore because it's so raggedy, but I do have a fleece, a long fleece that zips up, which has a hoodie on it, and it's got it's inside. It's quilted, and so my second favourite thing, which is actually over here, is my what's it called? The red thing.
A red fleece.
A red fleece, which is also quilted. I like things that are quilted because then they slip and slide over your arm. In a
What are
sort
the
of
blankets with the sleeves?
Snuggies.
Jeremy has a
Snuggie?
collection of Snuggies.
yes,
And
that's
he
what I
walks
like.
around with-
I don't
He
like the cloth
always
ones
zips
because
up.
I always like to wear shirts.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm wearing a pretty skanky old shirt at the moment, but I like to wear proper shirts. The Americans have
like
a phrase for them.
t-shirts.
What are they called? Court shirts?
Dress shirts.
Dress shirts. I wear dress shirts pretty much all the time, even if I'm in my shed.
Aren't they restrictive? I hate shirts. I like t-shirts because there's no collar
No,
to keep
no,
you
no,
restricted.
no.
Being buttoned
You
down
don't wear
all the
around
time.
I
collared
can't wear
t-shirt.
because in my previous existence,
Holy shit! There's something about Jeremy and me that's alike.
I think I might have been hung or something. I don't like anything near my neck.
Oh, I was confused.
Don't like anything near my neck. Want to go and have my hair cut twice a year.
Previous existence, you were hung.
I think so. Yes.
Hanged.
Oh, hang.
He wasn't
I know.
either.
I was really confused for just.
Could have been both. Yeah.
If you're hung, just wear a bamboo kilt. That would be perfect.
Like that tribe in Africa or somewhere where
They wear bamboo kilts.
yes. Very good. I should say so.
Lewis, did you tell us what
I did. Button-down shirts.
Yes, and and we've done Nate.
Yes.
Have we done Jane?
No. Oh, I
You
don't.
like to wear your hair, don't you?
No.
Just
Very naughty.
Just
No, don't be naughty now. Tell
I have
us.
some like they're windbreaker pants. That's what they used to call them. Now I just call them slicky pants.
Oh, right.
Like the workout
They
suits.
swish, 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 swish. They're just very light, and you can actually get away with wearing them and not look like a complete slob. Just
No, you can't.
kind of.
How does anybody feel on silk pajamas?
Silk pajamas.
I don't like
Yes.
silk.
I don't have I hate pajamas to start with.
Yeah.
I feel like you can generate sufficient inertia in your silk pajamas that you will shoot right out of the bed. So
Yeah, yeah.
They're slippery. Yeah.
Or static
Well, there's the
electricity. They
thing.
start clinging to you.
Well, those with my velvet sheets really create a
Yes,
lot
you
of electricity.
wouldn't.
Nate's
you would-
hair standing
It's,
up on end.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't want to shoot
Balloons
out of the
just
bed
come from
if
nowhere.
you're on
They're stuck to my head.
velvet sheets,
So,
would you?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It is. I can imagine. Dear, oh dear, gosh.
I'm not sure I want to imagine.
No, I'm not sure either. God, I've thought of no, I'm going to move on to the next question. Tell me, girls and boys, because we haven't got to Hannah yet. How many heroes does it take to ruin a film? Do you think? And I think I'd like to start with Dr. Orlando, if we could. I'm thinking of these current Marvel-y type, heroes of type films and those sort of things. How many heroes can you have in a film before it's just simply not? There isn't a
wieldy.
hero anymore.
I don't know that there's a specific number. I think that being as serious as I can be about superhero movies, there's an element of the writer's ability to carry a story with multiple personalities, and if you have a writer that can adequately engage the audience with 10 people, then your limit is 10. If the writer can only engage with 2, then the limit is 2. Thus far, Marvel is the only company that's been able to successfully navigate having a movie available with more than, let's be generous and say 3 heroes in the movie. generally what happens is it becomes a special effects fest, and that happens at the expense of plot and narrative
Are you
development.
using the term heroes to mean superheroes, or
Not necessarily.
just people who are the focus of the? Because there's war movies and there's adventure movies with whole groups of people, and every one of them turns out to be a hero.
And so that's interesting because that proves that it can be done. The interesting thing for me as a comic book guy is that in the comic book realm, right now there's two major companies, Marvel and DC, and Marvel has been able to modify that strategy or that theory into something that's watchable and enjoyable by the mass audiences. Whereas the other company, the company that actually makes Superman, my tattoo guy, has been horrible at it. They have not been able to figure out how to make an engaging story with even one protagonist, less none 5. Like, they just haven't been able to do it.
You know, I liked Man of Steel. I liked how they did that one.
I find them all of them to be entertaining movies. I would not say any one of them is good after Chris Nolan's Batman trilogy. Like, they're just not great movies.
Before we get too geeky, I should have put
Too late,
into
man.
this
Too fucking late.
heroes or heroines, because in films like, I don't know, Captain Jack or something like that, Pirates of the Caribbean or war movies or all sorts of different films, Sherlock Holmes. You know, Sherlock Holmes is the hero. Or what about Watson? Or the latest BBC version where Watson has a wife. Is she a hero? You know, if you start adding people, does it take away from that certain je ne sais quoi?
Yeah.
I think, I mean, taking the question as vague as it goes, look at 3 billboards.
Don't come here and tell me my questions are vague. Right, you told me you wasn't going to mess with me.
No,
Taking
I
this
was
come on.
incredibly
I
specific
paid
and
him.
detailed question into account, but I think it can be as many as one. I mean, if you look at 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri, nobody was a good person in that. I mean, nobody was perfect. Nobody was a hero.
Yeah.
Nobody was the quintessential square-jawed good guy or good girl. Yeah. And I feel like if any one of those characters had been, the entire film would have been crap. So I think depending on the type of film you're looking at, it really comes down more to plot than quantity. So
agree.
to Lewis's
Can I
point,
tweak the question slightly and
Sure.
put how many stars does it take to ruin a film?
So that, for me, that is
Ocean's
actually
13.
a completely different question.
Yeah, it
because
is.
I definitely think that there's this terminal number. Like, once you get past, like, I don't know, 5 A-list celebrities,
Yes.
the movie is guaranteed to suck.
yes, absolutely.
Did you? Yeah, the first thing that popped into mind was the Suicide Squad. Did
Yeah,
you see it?
yeah.
Holy shit!
Well, I don't think this is just limited to superhero or even hero movies, comedies. I have maybe the closest thing to a truly great comedy with a all-star cast. Maybe the last thing that I can think of is maybe Cannonball Run. Like, outside of that, like, every time you get 10 people in on a movie, 10 A-list names, the movie just sucks. It's always less than the sum of its parts. And I don't know what that number is.
No, I liked Love Actually a lot, and there were a lot of really
That's
big
true.
names in that
But
movie.
they were all separate stories. So they
were all in. Okay, it's fine.
They were linked, but you're right. They were vignettes
Yeah.
on their own.
Yeah.
And watching the Love Actually Redux at Christmas, I think it was Christmas when it came out, where some of the stars had died, but a lot of them have moved on, and some of the B-listers are now A-listers. And I thought that was fun.
Simon Pegg.
But
in
things,
particular.
things.
The kid who went to America, right?
He was one of the naked actors.
That's
in Love
right.
Actually. Yes.
right.
and
Yeah.
he's now Watson.
Exactly.
No, that's
No,
not
that's
Simon
not
Pegg.
Simon.
No, that's Martin Freeman.
Martin
Thank you.
Freeman.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
Martin
sorry.
Freeman. But he went on and did the thing they filmed in New Zealand about the hobbits. You know,
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. That's right. You know, and Holmes. A lot of them became really quite famous I mean, we don't realise we're all of an age now where we remember when it came out.
Yeah.
But not with, say, Star Wars, for example, where you already had the A-lister playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, and other
He was
than
only
that,
the only real.
that was
A-lister
my
at the
point.
time. Yeah.
Nobody knew who-
Grand Moff Tarkin, the guy. What was his name?
Oh, that's true.
God. Yeah, I'll have to
it's
look it
on
up.
the
I
tip
can't
of my
think of.
tongue.
Yeah, it's like
Well,
Cushing.
Peter Cushing. Yeah.
He was a pretty big guy at the time.
movies are a weird format. You have hour and a half to 2 hours to develop a story. So each story has a trajectory. That's a plot. And if you overpopulate it, it's going to make the story move much. Okay, so you can populate it with a lot of characters. The story is going to suffer.
Right.
To build a character as a writer is one of the most challenging things, and to make it to flesh the character out, to give him flesh and blood, to make him breathe, you have to provide a lot of information about that character. You have to show us his past, maybe show us his childhood, his challenges. Why is he what he is right now? What made him that? What gave him his anxieties, his troubles, his issues? You build this character, and those 2 hours are gone, man. So
And you have to do that while not being cliche.
yes,
Doing a
you have to
montage
avoid
or be pandering.
Yeah.
So
it's very hard. That's why movies that that are overpopulated with characters get diluted. Also, even with television shows with multiple opportunities to build characters suffer, like Heroes. Heroes self-destructed because it got overpopulated with superheroes. But at the same time, you are right. Love Actually was a fantastic example because somehow they managed within these 2 hours to build characters that are believable. You look at them and they're human beings. They jump out of the pages and become real. And that's very hard as a writer. So kudos to the writers of this movie. They did an incredibly hard job to create these people that you believe in a matter of 2 pages.
You know,
have to remember that the writers, though, I know they're English, but they're also responsible for a number of very big TV hits in the UK. Really, like Blackadder, for instance.
So they're very
They
experienced.
really know what they're on about. And it's interesting, I think, you know, we have with us a top-selling, best-selling writer, author.
And it's his birthday!
His birthday, yeah.
But-
And I was watching him on the TV, but a lot of people have asked me, well, you work with Ivo, and, you know, he's internationally known, you keep saying, and he writes all these books, you keep saying.
But we can't read
Well,
it.
why have I never heard of him? And I said, well, you can see him on the TV. Just go to YouTube and what have you. He's all over Europe and stuff like that, being interviewed by all these wonderful people. The reason is because you speak in acrylic and no one can understand a word you're bloody saying.
I will never translate these books. I now understand. I'll never translate them. I tried, and it's freaking ridiculous. I have to start from scratch. It doesn't translate word for word. I have to write every story from beginning, and it's 600 pages. You know,
And
I'll never
I
do it.
would
Never do it.
rather watch 10 hours
Yeah.
first-class cricket
Oh no.
than try and translate.
Cricket? No. I would rather. Let's see. I would rather watch 8 hours of sock knitting world championship
Ah, sock
than watch 10 minutes of fucking cricket.
Hey, that would be kind of interesting.
No,
I think
we
so
won't.
too.
It
I
will
think so
Yeah,
too.
I would like that.
You would watch people knitting socks?
Well,
Yeah.
I
8
think
hours?
some of these people are really a lot faster than you think. You know, there it is.
In slow motion.
Well, then we could learn. We
Jane,
could just teach ourselves.
You were going to make a comment right before Evo started.
Yeah, the other thing that I really appreciated about Love Actually is how oftentimes when you have a type of film that is put together kind of like the soap-esque template, you get wrapped up in one or two of the characters, and then when they flip over to somebody else, you're like, no, fuck off. I don't care about you.
Right.
Go back to this guy and this chick.
yeah.
But not with this film. Everybody was interesting, and it was kind of one of those things. So I really appreciate that. I've noticed this as well with comic books. They've made a couple of the movies where I get interested in a couple of superheroes, and then they phase over to somebody else. I'm like, I don't care.
Right.
Like I feel like that is really hard. I call it the soap opera.
I'm still stuck on the phrase soap-esque.
Yeah,
I like that.
It made perfect sense. Yeah.
Soap-esque. Yeah.
Best line from Love Actually.
Oh God.
Well, that's undoubtedly. Let's get drunk and watch porn.
No, let's get pissed and watch.
Let's
porn.
get pissed and watch porn. Sorry, I even got that wrong.
My
oh
favorite
God.
scene is
Oh, I
when
got it.
when Hugh Grant's character goes up to the door with the driver.
The signs.
No. And the woman is expecting a caroler, and Hugh Grant looks at his driver, and his driver just starts belting out.
Has this
the-
great
Kevin.
voice. And it's beautifully underdone because he just turns around and kind of gives him this surprised look.
I like the line. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you.
Sorry. I like the part where Bill Nye's character is being interviewed by the
boy band
young
guy,
pop
yeah.
guys, and he says, he says something inappropriate, and the guy goes, "We got a lot of kids watching here, Billy," and he goes, "Oh, right. Hi, kids. Here's a message from your Uncle Bill. Don't do drugs."
Go buy drugs.
And then he goes, "Yeah, become a pop star and they'll give you some for free."
Yeah.
I would just also like to point out, because I can't believe I forgot, Sheriff Rick Grimes. Anybody
Yeah.
remember
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead?
He's the guy with the signs.
The guy
That
with the
loves
signs.
Keira Knightley.
Holy shit! Yeah, sorry, I
never,
know.
ever
I
noticed
just remembered.
Holy shit.
Yep.
We
I said
record-
it wasn't
we-
unknown at the time.
We
Yeah.
record this show Wednesday night at Conroy's Emporium, where you can get anything your heart desires. If you want to come and join in, come and watch, do come down on a Wednesday night. The equipment starts being set up around 5-ish. We start to record this around 6-ish. Please do come and watch, join in. Lots of people do. The other day, the March for Our Lives movement marched all over the country. More people joined in and went to the last inauguration of a president. Yet it is being accused of having millionaire backers and powerful political organisers behind them, and thus it is not real. Here's my question. Does the panel think we're at a seminal turning point in the gun debate, similar perhaps to the Selma March? Or is it just a bunch of cute kids with no definite cause? Who'd like to go first?
Well, they have a cause, that's for sure. And they're going to vote, that's for sure. And it probably would have ended up much like many other gun tragedies, except for the reaction of the dickhead right.
But is it just cute kids?
No, they got brains.
I think I think they do have brains, and I think that their knowledge and obvious savvy in regards to social media has made the biggest difference here. People telling them that they're too young to have an opinion, but they're young enough to get shot is painful to see. And I think the fact that this wasn't, at least hasn't been yet, just a flash in the pan, is hopefully a sign that it is going to change and there is going to be a difference. And as far as the millionaire backers go, I hate to tell people this, but the inauguration had millionaire backers as well. So regardless of who is behind the issue and who is funding people getting together, they're getting together because of the reason, not because of the financing.
And there were marches all around the country. They didn't all
Exactly.
just go to Washington.
Exactly.
And the financing is not the kids getting paid. It's about buses,
Yes.
logistics, infrastructure. Getting them together. It's their pure own energy that made them do this. If they didn't believe in it, they wouldn't march.
Yeah.
Well, and to kind of play off what you're saying, the purity. Here's something that I think people are totally discounting. They think that the kids, well, they're just kids. They haven't lived. They haven't done it. And I go, well, maybe that's the purity that needs to happen.
Exactly.
They are untainted
Yeah.
by the bullshit that everybody else is, and all they see is a certain aspect or certain simplicity.
Yeah, it's always the young people that bring change. And I'm saying this from personal example, because in the late 80s, it was the students that started the revolution in Eastern Europe. I was a college student back then. It was the college students. received some encouragement from the adults, but really it was our idealism, our purity and belief and faith in what's right and what's wrong. And because our parents couldn't afford losing their jobs, they had too many responsibilities, they couldn't afford being arrested, there were too many responsibilities. The kids, there's nothing holding them back, man. This idealism is so powerful. And you look back into almost every revolution that occurred in the history of humanity, it was always the youngest people. They were the driving force. They were the engine of change. And it's going to be the same way here. I am convinced. After watching these kids, they're just a giant wave. It will not be stopped. They will change things. I wouldn't be surprised if one day this generation repeals the Second Amendment. Who knows?
Do you remember that moment? I think it was Emma Gonzalez when she first had a speech very close to the shooting and said, "We call
Bullshit.
BS,"
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It was as if,
It's scary, yeah.
she hadn't seen it so much before that. And she recognizes very clearly, and everybody else did, but grown-ups have seen so much BS over the years that they weren't emphasizing this. That was the purity. That's where it came in. She recognized it and called it.
Yeah, we're desensitized. I mean, those kids feel everything.
Yeah.
They feel it with their soul, and they respond with emotion, and it's beautiful and very powerful to watch. I'm envious of them because I don't know if I can do it. Man, I've got too many credit card bills and mortgages and payments, and
you've seen it happen, and you've seen no outcry, and you get jaded because this is awful, but obviously it's not going to change, and they're not.
Well, that's, I think, the thing is that they're going to. When we were working in Northern Ireland all those years ago, people would say, "Well, it's not going to change. You're never going to beat the sectarian." The Catholics and the Protestants hating each other, And do you know what did? And this is why I think this is so important. It was the kids. And I recognised it once. We organised a talk about parliamentary stuff, and we held it in I think it was the University of Belfast, and we invited a bunch of kids from a load of different high schools, and so they all came, right? And the first thing I wanted to try to do was to throw the teachers out so we could just have the kids in the room. There was a big old panelled room. And once the teachers had gone, they all sat down and they're off, right? Then I remember a teacher coming back and they all went back in their tribes again. And what happened was that they wanted, but in the time that we were working there from when we started to when we finished, when we first went there, there had to be armed security. The last time we went, you could go into the central Belfast and go shopping, and you didn't have to have armed security. And the reason for that was because of the high schoolers saying, we want to be able to go downtown on a Saturday morning, be able to go Kentucky Fried Chicken without getting blown up.
Isn't it cool how he says Kentucky?
It is.
That's what it was about for the kids. They weren't interested in what Grandpa did and Grandpa hating the Protestants or the Catholics or whatever it was. It was the kids. And that's why I was thinking, we look back to Selma or to the girl who was the first black girl to go into the white school, who's just died the other day.
Brown.
Way to bring it down, Jeremy.
Brown. Well, you do it because I'm English. I mean, come on. Brown v. Board of Education.
Hey, look, we would look back to the Revolution. Do you know the age of some of those founding fathers? They were kids.
20s.
Yeah, early 20s.
Late teens, early 20s.
So do you think? I mean, I've got opinions, but I haven't got someone saying, do we think it's going to be a seminal moment? Dr. Orlando.
I hope that it is a seminal moment, but I think it's too early to say.
Yeah.
The one thing that we know for sure is that the party, the group, the individuals that are interested in maintaining the status quo are excellent social engineers.
Yes.
That's essentially what they have done for the last 50 to 60 years.
Yes.
Engaged in this systematic routine of changing public opinion to fit their wants and their needs.
Yeah.
So the fact that this happens this close to a somewhat important election is promising, but it may literally be too far away for the movement to sustain
Because our
its
attention
momentum.
span is so
Our
short.
attention spans have gotten shorter, and the importance of this moment in our political process seems to be getting longer. So I think that by the time we get to the midterm elections, it will be much easier to say whether or not this movement has had the momentum to maintain itself that long, if it exists that long, and if it's going to continue afterwards.
There's something important you're forgetting. There's 6 months until November 7.
I don't count.
Yeah, I don't count either, but there's going to be at least 20 more mass shootings.
This is
until
the
then.
problem. This is an absolute
It's horrible, but it's true.
The other thing
it is
is-
scary how you and I think the same. I was just going to go, and you said
The other thing is that I think if nothing else, it has really resonated with these kids. And even if it does die off, I don't think they're going to forget. And I was going to point out after you had talked about the Gonzalez girl, I can't remember the little girl who made the speech the very first time you heard it, and she said, "If you do not do something, we will vote you out."
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? They're 2 years away from being able to vote. It's turned them political. They are paying attention now.
Millions of young people
And
will
they
start
are
voting.
a huge group.
And they never
Bigger
voted
than the
before,
baby
young
boomers.
people.
Yeah.
But they're
And the baby
energized and
boomers are
animated
dying off, so.
by this
Uh-huh.
administration.
I thought
Yeah.
what was interesting was that Dr. King's granddaughter spoke. A lot of people don't realise who the little African American girl was, who was very articulate, cute as a button, but she was very articulate. That's Dr. King's granddaughter. Amazing,
Never mind.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, can you not be cute as a button and articulate at the same time?
No.
Damn it.
And why do people say cute as a button? That's one of those mysteries.
Found a button attractive.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Yes.
Really hot button that I found one time back in 1986.
But not cute.
Oh my God.
Is that a euphemism? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and then finally, I happened to bump into somebody the other day whose profession it is designing and selling board games. I mean, how weird is that? But that's what he does. And we were talking, and he said, "You need to ask this question." So I said, "What's that?" He said, "Do we now know for certain that there are no aliens or alien craft at Roswell thanks to President Trump? Because if there were,
He would have.
told us."
Yeah.
So, go ahead, Lewis.
Because he's a
Doc-
conspiracy
Dr.
theory
Orlando.
maniac.
So he is,
Yeah.
but I would say we still can't rule it out completely because there's a good chance that somebody who does know the truth was not willing to tell him the truth.
I was going to make it a little bit more basic than that.
Yeah.
Like, we got to wait for Putin to tell him that it's okay to tell us. Like, that's it. Like, he has not yet admitted to being told to do all of his shit from Putin. So, like, until that happens, like, the jury's out.
Yeah, well, I think he would have blurted it out had he known, if he was able to remember from one day to the next. But if he keeps staying up overnight and having his memory shot so that he tweets out complete nonsense at 5 and 6 in the
Hey,
morning.
you try
he
watching
can't remember
Hannity
that
24
stuff.
hours a day and see if you can remember
God,
all
no,
the facts
please.
that are important.
No,
It is interesting, isn't it,
Torture was
that our
illegal.
president has had something done to his head like a
Lobotomy.
He's had
Oh,
something
it's-
done.
well, his scalp's been put. I mean, he's admitted to it.
Yeah.
With his hair and everything. So
Holy shit, maybe it's like on Men in Black where the little
Yes,
aliens
the
in the
little
head.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking. Is it Men in Black all over again? And that's why he lives
The
at the top of
galaxies in
Trump
the
Tower.
round belt.
Yeah.
And his wife won't sleep with him.
It's the homunculus.
She's not in the
Well,
same
she won't
room.
even hold his
I mean-
hand.
Yeah.
It's the homunculus paradox, the homunculus that lives inside of his brain. It was an alien that landed. They didn't land in Roswell. They landed on his head. It was a furry alien, and he sucked out his brain, and he's feeding him these tweets every day.
Is his
that's
head
it.
full of tribbles?
I don't know. It's full
It
of
would
tweets.
explain the hair.
Yeah.
Eva, we're coming to the end of the show. It's been a bit of an interesting show, I think, today. And I wondered if you could share with us who have been our sponsors. Very kind of them.
Today, I believe we are sponsored. Louis, can you give me the list with the sponsors today?
Sure, here you go.
Thank you. Oh, wow, that's a long list right here. I see. Okay, Delta was there. We had TWA.
Makers of winding
Amazingly,
wristwatches.
this Wednesday, we're sponsored by Palm Pilot.
Righteous.
Palm Pilot 1000. Palm Pilot 1000 handheld device with, hold on to your chairs, 128 kilobytes internal RAM. Unfreaking believable. And Chops Comics. Chops Comics is sponsoring us today?
Yes, they are. Yes.
Oh my goodness, can you
Chops
give us some information?
Comics are sponsoring us today. They're all over Jane's chest, and it's very interesting.
I don't think that's the way to put it.
Finally, we all have a chance to look.
Oh my God!
Yeah, just enjoy while you can. Yes,
Chops Comics in Lawrence, Kansas.
Chops Comics in where are they? Castle.
Bob Billings and Castle.
What's their,
Is it open already?
What's their
Chops
open date?
Comics?
It was a soft opening today, and then the grand opening, I believe, is the 3rd.
Jason is the owner,
Jason.
and when Jason is the owner, there's never a soft opening.
But on Jay.
It's always
you would
hard
have
opening.
liked that.
You've been listening to Wednesday Night Undressed. Want to thank engineer Neil Rasmussen. We would thank our producer Eric Holcomb if he'd been here, but he came crawling in. He's been on some sort of bar crawl for the rest of the most of the evening. So I'm not really quite sure whether he gets a whole thank you, but he's probably been doing something. Yeah. And of course the panel tonight: Dame Kathleen Taylor, Count Ivo Ivanov, Dr. Orlando, Professor Jane Carter, and our guest for tonight, Nate. And finally, I'd like to ask. No, I won't. Thank you for listening.
Yeah.